Now then, well, I do apologise for the less than pleasing angle, so you'll have to work your way past my chins. Anyway, I'm off in toward Picasso with the trailer on, and I'm going, well, I haven't bought yet because no money's changed hands, but money will be changing hands. And I bought the motorbike that I always wanted and could never afford it. So it's quite local to me, just out the back of Durham, little village out the back of there. The guys had it for about, how long's he had it for? I think he's had it for 4 years. From what I worked out, he's bought it from a dealer, and then a guy before him had done a restoration on it. Prior to that, it's had some other owners. It's a genuine UK bike, which they were mainly made for the American market. Although, well, that's not completely true. They sold the most in America. They made it for many other markets as well, Brittany being one of them. But the vast majority all went to America. And they only made it between 1972 and 1975. And this one is the final one, the one that I always loved, which was the 1975 model in purple, or candy purple, I think they call it. So, have you worked out what it is yet? No? So, come on, Rob, you've got to think about this. I'll give you another clue. I've already got one in a smaller capacity, CC wise, and that one I bought when I was 17, not new. It was the first bike I restored. I later redid it again with a, this is when did I buy it? 1986, 85 maybe. 1985 I bought it, and in 1986 I put a monoshock rear suspension on it, and I changed the engine from being a 250 to a 500, and I had it featured in performance bikes on the Reader's Special pages, if you remember them, probably before your time. And I think I had it in performance bikes in 86, and 87 I remember using it, going to work on it, one office, and that office I could keep it in the boiler room. So, but I only worked at that office from January to April 1987, and then I moved to a new office, which is in Gisborough, which didn't have much of a private car park, and it was, I didn't like all the customers that were coming to our building. I was always wary of what they might do to the vehicles in the car park. So I remember going to work on it a few times in 87, but not many. And the tax discs that I think still on it ran out in 88, because I used to buy it for a year. So I think I last rode that in 1987, and that one, it's never been started since then. So that's a future recommission project. But when I did have that, I went, there was a club that was newly formed. A guy, a real enthusiast, a knowledgeable bloke called Rick Brett from Nottingham, who is basically the god of this mark now. Anybody knows about this market of motorbike, they know who Rick Brett is. And I went to two of his rallies. I think again about 86, 87. I went once in its 250 guys and once in its 500 guys. Yeah, so I'll let you ponder that. Oh, the fall food race. Right, I'll let you think a bit more. So when I was at these rallies, this bigger capacity one which was a 750, and the largest one I made, and it was the one I was in awe of, but just simply couldn't afford them at the time. I had a couple of motorbikes, I had a Mark II Jag, I had another car, I had no money, none whatsoever, and not a very well paid job, and basically the motorbikes took a back seat, and consequently I never bought one. So I've always threatened to have one, and I've been looking for the last few years less seriously, and then this year I've just started looking more seriously. I was considering buying one that was absolutely mint, not full, restored by somebody else, low miles and low owners and original bill of sale, all that sort of thing. But there's quite a difference in that price point and a good rideable one, and there's a lot in between that are trying to reach that really high price point but just don't have the history to back it up. So, and this model that I've got, the last one, generally they're about 25% more expensive than the earlier models. I think through a bit of rarity, and I think just because it was arguably the prettiest version. I'm not sure whether it is the prettiest version. People who have the early one probably say that it is. So, yeah. So I'm off to collect that, and I'll show you a picture when I get in my trailer. I've just been sat in a quarter of an hour traffic jam. Next GV broke down, poor guy laid under the trailer. Looked like it was one of the legs must have dropped or something. That's what he was working on. Not a great job in one lane of a dual carriageway. Anyway, whilst I was sat in that jam, I was thinking about when I'd seen these bikes and the memories that I've got of being younger. And when I think about it, 1975, the last year that they sold these, I was only 8 in 75, turned 8 in 75. So there's no way I remember them in the shops or the brochures that I had on my walls, as like a young teenager. So as a teenager, I remember having Kawasaki brochures on my wall in my bedroom. And I remember going to Redcar, and there was 2 or 3 motorbike shops, but the one that I remember, which was on the corner of Westgate Lane. And I never remember whether it was Cowies or Muxlows, but it was Kawasaki Corner, but they had a corner shop. I remember looking in that window, so I used to go down on my push bike, probably with my mates, look through the window, and I remember there being this Ian Dyson replica. No bloody idea who Ian Dyson was, but I thought this was absolutely marvellous. And that's what mine ended up being when I finally bought one. Well, so I thought. I always thought it was an Ian Dyson replica, but then it turned out there was another body kit that was very popular at the time, and mine was an FLF replica. It's just another company who made fiberglass body kits for motorbikes in the 80s, I guess. So when I was looking through that window, yeah, I was probably 13 by the time I was riding to Redcar. So that would be 1980. So at best 82, 82, say. So yeah, there was definitely only 200 and 400cc versions of this bike around then. And I have absolutely no memory of seeing one on the road as a young kid, of a 750 version. The only memory I have is, as I said, going to these couple of rallies in Nottingham, where I actually saw the 750s. I'd heard of them, but again, I hadn't realised that they'd only made them for such a short period of time. And anyway, with my newfound enthusiasm for buying one of these, I was just watching some bits and bobs on the interwebby, and they were on about the torque that they produce, and I didn't realise how torquey the motors were, and they were quoting, can't remember the number, I'll say 55 pounds-foot of torque for the 750, and they were comparing it to a Honda 754, and that had something like 40 pounds-foot ish, and a Z900 Kawasaki, which I think it had 50, or anyway, the numbers are a bit squirrely from what I'm remembering now, but basically this 752 stroke had more torque than both of those quite iconic bikes, and weighed in. This model's about 200 kilos. It was saying the 754 Honda, that was about 40 kilos heavier, and that was it. It was they were also comparing it to the CBX, the 6-cylinder Honda CBX, and it had more torque than the 6-cylinder 4-stroke CBX as well, and it was about 70 kilos, I think, lighter than that. So quite a different machine to ride than those big 4-strokes, I would imagine. Not that I ever really got into big 4-strokes. I do have a couple, but never wear. Here we go. I've just stopped just to check my straps. It's in nice and tight. H2C 750, if you didn't guess. So can't really see because I've got all the straps and all the wastage of the straps wrapping around to lose it. So I look forward to getting that off when I get home.